Today's lesson is properties of numbers. The objectives of today's lesson is to identify properties of addition and multiplication and to use the properties to solve problems. Vocabulary you need to know. An additive identity is when you add 0 and a number and it will equal the number. So it's saying 12 plus 0, that will equal 12. That's what additive identity is. Where multiplicative identity is when you multiply a 1 and a number, so 12 times 1, it will equal that number. So it will equal 12, not 1. So, some more key concepts you need to know. There's the commutative property of addition and multiplication. So, to not have to write out the whole thing, you're going to go C-O-M-M, prop of, and then it depends on what you're talking about. It could be addition, you'll put a plus sign, or multiplication, which would be a time sign. And when you're doing commutative property of addition or multiplication, you're just switching the numbers. So instead of it being like what we have on the first part, 6 plus 4, you can make it 4 plus 6. Adding, you can switch numbers around. If it's all adding, you can switch numbers wherever you want them to go. If it's all multiplying, you can also do that. So 6 times 4 can also be 4 times 6. If there's all multiplication, you can switch them around to make numbers round or whatever you want to do. You have what's called the associative property of addition and multiplication. And what we're going to do for that, we're going to go A-S-S-O-C, associative, prop of addition or multiplication, depending on what you're talking about. Again, adding and subtracting, adding, not subtracting, adding, you can put the numbers, if it's all adding, you can put the numbers wherever you want, or you can add the two numbers up you want to. So, here it says 2 plus 7 in parentheses, so these two are in parentheses this time, but I'm like in my mind, the better numbers to add together are 7 and 3. So I put parentheses around the 7 and 3 instead and have 2 on the outside. So that's another way of doing it. Same with multiplying, like I said, they could be switched around to make whatever you want. So you can put the parentheses where you want to if it's all multiplication. So instead of having 2 times 7 in parentheses, you can have 7 times 3 in parentheses. So switching it around is called the associative property. Then you have what's the identity property of addition and multiplication. So you would go ident, prop of addition or multiplication. Remember, adding a 0 means it's the identity property of addition. And when you multiply by 1, it's the identity property of multiplication. So let's try some of these. All right. So word problem. Carlos rented a set of gold golf clubs for $7. So I'm going to put $7 down. Plus $12 for a golf cart. And he paid green fees of $23. Find his total cost. So, what we're going to do is we're going to either switch or do parentheses, and I'm going to see, would these two make a round number? No. How about these two? No. So I'm going to switch because I know 7 plus 23 would be so much better. These two would make a much better idea. So 7 plus 23. So right here I did the commutative property of addition, because I'm doing addition. So 7 plus 23 is 30, plus 12 is 42. So it cost him $42 to play some golf. So let's try example 2. This time we're just identifying the properties, and you have to remember to put multiplication or addition or it's going to be wrong. So on A, I have 5 times 7 equals 7 times 5, and that's flipping them or changing them around, so that would be the commutative property of, and it's multiplying, so multiplication. All right, B, I have a number C. Okay, C is representing a number. C times 1 equals C. So which one has it where you multiply by 1? That's the identity property of multiplication. How about here? I have 7 plus A equals A plus 7. Again, I switched it around. So it's the commutative property of, this time it's addition because it's a plus sign. Now D, notice something we have in this one where we don't have in the others. That would be a parentheses. So I started with the parenthesis around X and Y, and I switched it over to 5 and X. So the parentheses one is the associative property, so it's assoc property of, and what are they doing? They're multiplying to each other, so multiplication. All right, so let's try this one. All right, so on this one, you're doing mental math, but you're going to show me all your steps in mental math. So, 81 plus 6 plus 9. Well, 86 plus 1, 81 plus 6 is not going to get me a round number. So I'm going to switch the 6 and the 81, so I'm going to keep it in parentheses. 6 plus 81 plus 9. So right now I just switched it, so that's the commutative property of addition. And then it looks like I think I want to, the two numbers put together that make a round number are 81 and 9, so I'm going to change my parentheses to 81 plus 9. Now, since I switched the parentheses, it's the associative property of addition. And now I can do the math. 81 plus 9 is 90, plus 6 is 96. Example 4, you have to buy this, suppose you buy the school supplies for paper is $1.65 and highlighters are 85 cents and eraser is 35 cents. Use mental math to find it out. So we have to find where it would be best to round. Well, if I do 85 and 35, that's going to get me over $1. But I know that these two will work best together. So I'm going to put $1.65 plus 35 cents plus 85. And I'm going to put parentheses. All we're doing here is the commutative property. And then you add them up, and that should be $2 plus 85 cents. So it cost me $2.85. All right. So, on this one, you have to find round numbers that go together. Now, in my mind, I could do 4 times 9. But timesing it by 5 also is going to get me much difficult. But in my mind, I look and I say that I could do 4 times 5. So I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to switch the 4 and the, I'm going to switch the 9 and the 5 around. That's all I'm going to do. So 4 times 5 times 9. Since I just switched them, that would be the commutative property. And then I can do, watch, this is the reason why I chose 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is what? 20 times 9. Notice it's a round number, it has a 0 at the end. So 9 times 2 is 18, and add the 0. That's the reason why I chose that. Let's try it again. 3 times 5 is going to get me a 15. 1 times 5 is going to still get me a 5 at the end. But negative 5 times 8 is negative 40. That's round. So I'm going to put a parenthesis around them. 3 times 1 is 3. And negative 5 times 8 is negative 40. And then I multiply it. 3 times negative 40 is negative 120. See, the 40 is a round number of 0 at the end. That's the reason why I did that. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.